Let's start here, time it!
Jordan Warboys gets us underway. And what a battle this promises to be. The Bulldogs up against the Raiders. Close the gap round. The socks being worn by the Canberra Raiders. And it's the Bulldogs with first use as Creighton is tackled just outside his own 30. Here is Perrott, and first penalty early.
Offside, you're offside.
The Canberra Raiders being told they're inside the 10. And a perfect start here for the Dogs.
A great start by the Bulldogs. Similar to their first grade side, they really roll forward up through the middle there. Big forward pack, create plenty of headaches through that centre.
Fuka will play it 20 out from the Raiders line. Here goes Perrott again. Very hard to put down, and he's only 5 metres away, Lloyd Perrott. Creighton slipping over as he comes to the defensive line. Vargas gets up and goes again and scores. Well, he fell over Josh Vargas, got up and was able to score. Some sloppy defence from Canberra, but haven't they started at 1,000 miles an hour, the Bulldogs?
Yeah, they certainly have. When he slipped over, I think it stunned everybody. He got up there, Vargas, and bust over the line, but what a powerhouse start by the Bulldogs side. Coming out of their own end, they grab a penalty there. Great aggressive start. They get an opportunity here. Slips over there, not held, and bounces over the line there. What a great start to the young side.
Hasn't missed a game all year as Josh, and his first try of the year. And what a time, just a minute into the game. Canberra hasn't touched the footy. They've only made 3 or 4 tackles. And 4 tackles. There's been 4 play the balls in the game, and they've scored right in front. Templeman will have no trouble in making it 6-0. They had an awful start last week, the Raiders, against the Roosters. They were down 12-0 after 7 minutes, where they're down by 6-0 after 2 here against the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I know Coach Mick Mantelli throughout the week was, urging his side to have a much more controlled start to the game. They were disappointed with that, with the footy in hand as well. They pushed too many passes. They turned up, they're pretty aggressive in that first defensive set. They just were ill-disciplined at the back end, giving away a penalty. The Bulldogs are off to a cracker start.
Well, they've let the ball bounce here, Canterbury, and got fortunate there. Dujon Leo Lavave was able to take that ball after the bounce. Let's see whether or not the Dogs can get out of their own end easily on this occasion. They try and spin it wide. Here's Perrott. He's there at Creeth, who is wearing 23 in for Matt Frawley today. He'll defend at 5'8", but play at fullback in attack. Here's Perrott again, straight over the top there of Pengai, who comes again. Bateman was around the legs. Brenko Lee in there as well. Creighton. Last tackle here for Canterbury. Carter's at acting half. Feeney kicking. It's an awkward looking bounce initially for Roberts, who is patient. So the Raiders finally get the footy.
Yeah, they get an opportunity here to get their hands on the ball. They need a solid set here. Get out of their own end. The Bulldogs here starting to muscle up defensive line here. Great line speed, putting plenty of pressure on the outside backs.
You could hear the defence there of Canterbury yelling out, Reuben, Reuben, as the winger came in for it. It's Pengai. There's 4 Bulldogs defenders in there. There's nowhere for him to go. Creighton, one of the defenders. Fuka the other. Bateman. Straight into trouble went Barnett. They're going across field here, Canberra. And now they decide to go forward through Pengai. That's the halfway line. They've struggled to get to there. Tamakio in the way. Back to Ahern. Now to Brenko Lee. Reuben, that ball was forward. And so Tamakio got in the way of Ahern, who decided to run it on the halfway line. And they've come up with the error here, Canberra, for a changeover. A little bit rattled here, the Raiders.
Yeah, the dummy half pass there just from Shoeback was a little bit late there to Ahern. Brenko Lee tries to get the ball away at the back end there, but great kick pressure and great defensive set by the Bulldogs.
They'll start this set in terrific field position, Canterbury. Carter's out of acting half. This is Feeney. Templeman, quick hands. Here's Backhouse. Tackled there by Heffernan. He's lost the footy.
Knock on.
And the mistake coming from the Dogs on tackle number 1.
Yeah, well, unfortunate mistake there from Backhouse. Important set here for the Canberra Raiders to get to the end and get to a quality kick there. Good defensive work as the ball just bobbles free there. Pengai coming over the top, good defence there. But the Raiders, they really need to control possession here. Up against a big forward pack from this Dogs side. They need to control the footy and dominate possession.
Ahern. This is Mago spinning away. He's beat 2, 3 defenders. Finally, Lane makes the tackle. Finally, they put him to ground. 10 short of halfway. Shoe back to Marchio. Strong run. It's one area they do lack a little bit, the Raiders. No disrespect intended, but they're not the biggest forward pack, particularly in the front row. They've got large back rowers, Mago and Pengai, but until Tahakilu comes in, there's the mistake. Slow to his feet there, Patrick Mago.
Bulldogs feet.
Heavily tackled.
Yeah, well, you spoke about the lack of size up front there, especially with Jeff Lynch too, who had shoulder surgery and missing the rest of the season. You know, they do, their strike is out wide. They need to get that balance where they need to go forward before they use their strike weapons on the edges. And they've got to, you know, match them up front, this big Bulldog side. They like to roll through the middle there. So a big test for Tamakio and Barnett up front. Try and shoulder that load.
Yet to complete a set, the Raiders.
23. Wait, out.
Which is a weakness of theirs. They score plenty of points, but they can make an error. Bateman reeling away from that tackle, which was completed by Barnett. Graham. Now Perrott lurking wide. He's burnt a handful to start this game. Lloyd Perrott, Carter, Feeney, Creighton. He's been heavily involved early as well. 30-metre line he'll play it on. Another opportunity here for the Bulldogs. Perrott, Feeney, Templeman was the cutout, Backhouse under pressure. Better defence there from the Raiders. Heffernan, one of the tacklers. Bateman in there as well. Vargas, terrific run, terrific offload. Carter, Templeman, back to Feeney. They're only 2 metres away here. The Bulldogs on a bit of a roll. The Canberra Raiders in trouble. Carter, Templeman, long ball here in the corner goes Leo Lavave. They're in again. The Dogs, terrific ball from Patrick Templeman. And Dujon Leo Lavave scores. He's played in every game, and that is his 11th try for the season.
Well, the Bulldogs, they're just getting a bit of second phase play here. The Raiders slipping off here. Great support play. Templeman there gives it back on the inside to Feeney. A quick play the ball, and Templeman, he comes up. He loves getting in at first receiver. A double cutout pass there, and Leo Lavave in the corner finishes it off. Great set by the Bulldogs.
Well, it should never have been scored, really, defensively for Canberra. They had the numbers there. And Eli Roberts just allowed Leo Lavave the opportunity to get on his outside. He pointed at the touchline. They do have the opportunity to challenge up until this attempted conversion is taken. Touch judge confident that he didn't go over the touchline. But Eli Roberts, I would imagine that most wingers would be disappointed when the opposition winger scores a try like that. There was no room there for Dujon Leo Lavave to score. Somehow he was able to.
And we see in the competition with so many great finishers on the edge. We spoke about Jonathan Rubin in our pre-game show and what a great finisher he is. And Leo Lavave gets his chance to finish off in the corner. Great ball by this young man, Templeman. He's been doing some great things in this NYC competition.
Just misses to the right, so it stays 10-0. And I remember the days when the fullback played at fullback and used to chime into the back line between the inside centre and the outside centre. Nowadays, the fullbacks are playing 5'8", and the 5'8" drops back to fullback. It's a bizarre way the game is in the modern game, and if you're not good with the ball in your hands at fullback, up in the line, well, you're not a fullback, are you?
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, you need the skills of a half and a 5'8", and also a kicking game too. You see the the great kicking games of the modern day fullbacks now and how important they are to our sides.
10-0 Canterbury. And like they were last week against the Roosters, the Raiders just being completely and utterly outplayed in the opening 10 minutes. Last week it was a charge down from Tavita Pangai where the ball got wedged under his armpit that changed the game. What will happen here? They've only had it for 2 sets, Canberra, and haven't completed one yet. This is their 3rd set of the game. And it's the 10-minute mark. 75% possession so far to Canterbury.
And you can see as the Raiders forward pack, they're only just getting behind the ball now. Some tired bodies already through that weight of possession to the Bulldogs. You can see the energy in their defensive line too, racing up, good contact in defence. The Bulldogs well on top at the moment.
Barnett. Shoeback. Marker's not on side and he's looking for a penalty, didn't get it. Last tackle, at least they'll get their kick here, or will they? War Boys only just getting it away. At least they completed a set. Here is one of the try scorers, Leo Lavave returning it. The other winger, Rintoul. 15 tries in 18 games for Dylan Rintoul. New South Wales Cup, I think, last week for Canterbury. Did Rintoul. Here's Carter. Blake, younger brother of Paul, and here they go again, the Dogs. Feeney back to Templeman. That is some sort of try from Canterbury. Templeman involved twice, and the Raiders are getting humbled here in Canberra. Canterbury Bankstown lead by 14, and Patrick Templeman gets their 3rd try in 12 minutes.
Wow, what a start here by the Bulldogs, but great work here by Blake Carter. He's done some great things out of number 9 here. Templeman, great support play. Feeney, and the ability and the skill to pass it back on the inside of Templeman. Great support play, great vision by the young hooker here, Carter. Gets out of dummy half, he scores plenty of headaches early. And the half and fullback, they chime in, backing each other up like they should do. A great start, as you spoke about. They're blowing them off the park at the moment, aren't they?
That's impressive. That was a great pass by Feeney. That wasn't easy. And Templeman didn't give up on the play after he put Feeney into some space. If he kicks this, it will be 300 career points for the Dogs. Patrick Templeman in just 27 games. That's more than 10 points a game. He should kick it. 16-0 after 13 minutes. The Raiders have not been in this situation too often in the last couple of years. They're good enough to get out of it, but are they playing well enough today? They've got to get some football. They've got to get down the other end of the park. They haven't been over the halfway line for a tackle with the ball in their possession.
Yeah, I think, you know, just the back ends, the sets there too. Some great kick pressure from the Bulldogs, but, you know, Jack Ahern, Jordan Warboys really needs to, you know, get in control here, get to the back end of the sets, get a good kick away, even drive it into touch. They need to get back into this game of footy.
Arges. Was that a shoulder charge there from Barnett? Canterbury thought it was. Maybe there were some arms involved. Tamakio was in there tackling also. Backhouse. So just gaining meters a little bit too easily here, Canterbury, as Elliott plays it. Carter, Perrott was in the way. Graham. Big thing Lane, isn't he? And the offload. Now, Fuka. Brinko Lee wraps him up. Carter's at acting half. Lane, here's Perrott. Nice tackle, Shoeback. Carter into acting half. Quick play the ball. Lane. Kicking. And it's not a bad kick either. He looked around for someone else to do it, then thought, okay, I have to, and he's come up with a pretty good kick, and that was well taken, Jack Ahern.
Yeah, it was great courage shown by Jack Ahern. Probably not the back end of the set, but they would have liked Jack Craith on the edge there, who's come into the halfback or 5'8" position there for the Raiders. He's getting plenty of traffic sent his way, whether it's Perrott or Lane from the Bulldogs. He's got his work cut out this morning.
Very quick off the line, Canterbury, and they're playing so poorly here, Canberra. was an awful pass to no one from Schuback. Now it creaked out of acting half. The line speed is extraordinary here, the Dogs. One of the plays there, the marker was at the first receiver before he got the football. And Ahern, they couldn't get down to the 30-metre line. Templeman returns it.
Yeah, and you see he brings it out at the 40-metre line, so he's in great field position already. The Raiders, well, they just look rattled at the moment, don't they? Their body language, they're tired, they're lacking some energy at the moment. And this Bulldogs side just rolling forward nicely.
Josh Vargas from the field, and Danny Fualalo comes on. Jersey number 17. Carter. Offload. Quick hands Feeney. Back house now. Stepping out of the tackle of Heffernan. Chopped down by Tamakio. Barnett over the top. Last tackle. Comes back here to Graham. Here come the chasers. Someone's called offside, and Reuben has come up with it for Canberra. I think it was 17 that was called offside. Fualalo, who's ended up making the tackle. There's one thing that Canberra would love at the moment, that's a penalty. Yeah, they definitely, they're screaming out for one of them at the moment as Brenko Lee gets involved, and they need more out of him, especially coming out of their own end here. The forwards are tired, they've had to really handle a lot early. Schuback's off and Garrard's on. Yep. They just aren't sharp around the ruck area, and so Mick Mantelli making the change. Barnett getting monstered in the middle of the park at the moment. Ahern. This is their best set of the game so far. Ahern just couldn't get over the head of Rintoul. Garrard makes the tackle.
It was a right play, though, by Jack Ahern. He kicked a little bit earlier in the set there. He knew he finally got some momentum. This is a chance to put a kick away. Would have liked it being a touch deeper. At least they're starting the sets coming off their 20-metre line.
Slow to play the ball down, don't they, Canberra? Elliott, 10 short of halfway. They're just getting up too quickly and playing it. And this roll, they can't stop the Raiders. There's a strong run from Creighton. Another quick play, the ball. Sloppy one, though. Lane. That's better defence. Terrific tackle there from Pangai. Puts him on his back. It's the last tackle. There's no real pressure on the kick there of Graham. He could have put it anywhere. And now Ahern to Eli Roberts. Back house. And Leo Lavave making the tackle. Peter Pangai very slow to his feet. You see down the bottom of your screen there with the trainer coming back onside. That's where you want your big blokes back there helping out a little bit when they're having trouble getting out of their own end. Jack Crete's not the man that's going to be making huge metres. Here's Barnett. Offload back to Garrard, I should say. Schuback on the bench. Creeth. Now Ahern. Kicking here for Reuben. Templeman was very deep. Understand the play, but the situation of the game wasn't the time.
No, I don't think it was from Jack Ahern there. It was more of an attacking kick coming off your 40-metre line. His side is battling against the weight of possession of the Bulldogs side and struggling with field position, getting out of their own end. He needed to launch it down the other end of the field. They're 16 points behind, not 16 in front.
Maybe an opportunity for that a little bit later. Templeman very deep and the winger was up. And they back Reuben with his speed. But the Dogs are now 20 metres out. Feeney with the dummy. Past Mago, past Bateman, past Reuben, and scores the try. And that's what we were talking about before with the kick from Jack Ahern. Just handed field position there to the Bulldogs. And what about the light footwork there from Jaylene Feeney? 20 points to 0.
Well, they certainly turned up to play here, the Bulldogs, this afternoon. And Feeney, well, he's done this on a couple of occasions. I've seen it in his highlights reel. Great little player. Show and go there. Bit of footwork, good speed and strength to get around. And Feeney puts another 4-pointer down. He's got great skills, great footwork, as you can see there. Good upper body strength. Pushes away from a couple to put it down. He's happy. The Bulldogs are happy. They're on a roll here.
Terrific work from Jalen Feeney. But we go back to that kick from Jack Ahern, Alan, and just turning it over. Just in reasonable field position for Canterbury, and 16-0 down, and they haven't been within cooey of the opposition 20. Just not necessarily the time, was it?
No, and that's the style of football that we've come to know and love about the Canberra Raiders. They're an attacking football side, and I don't think they find themselves in too many of these situations where they're 16 or 20 points down 20 minutes into the first half. So that's the attitude they come to play with. Wasn't the right option there from Jack Ahern on this occasion. They've got to find a way to get back into this footy game. Well, they could well put 50 points on them, the Bulldogs.
Well, they can score points in bunches. There's no doubt about that, the Canberra Raiders, but they've got to get the football. There's another couple of points for the Dogs, 22-0. How they would love to have Mitch Cornish out there, the Canberra Raiders. There he is in his Mounties gear. He's about to play in the New South Wales Cup. I get the suspicion, I also get a few little whispers that may be his last game in the New South Wales Cup, but he may be back for the run home to the playoffs for Canberra in the under-20s. That's over the dead ball line, and the full, if he'd let it go, even if he had the foot on the line, for Lalo, he's come up with the error. Is that the turning point?
Well, maybe it could be. Last week it was the ball that was wedged under Pengai's arm after a charge down. Can this be the turning point here? Well, the Raiders, they need to have a good set. If they can't score some points, trickle it in goal, get a repeat set, get a bit of possession back in their favour. They've had to do way too much defence early on. They need to put a bit of pressure now back on the Bulldogs.
Terrific goal line dropout, but that should have been a penalty back at halfway, and the Raiders could easily have been down 26-0. Now they've got a chance here. It's those little things. Start outside the dead ball line and come in.
Raiders made a couple of changes there. Pengai's on.
So Kilu Pengai at 17. He looks bigger this week than he was last week. War Boys. Now Ahern. Here's a hard run there from Mago. He stopped when he was hit and buckled awkwardly. Ahern kicking for Ruben, and Rintoul somehow stole it. I'm not sure that was the play either from Jack Ahern. It would have been very handy points, but the repeat set, finisher set.
Yeah, finishers set most importantly at the start there. As we spoke about, this is how they play. But the Raiders there, they just needed to stay patient, get a repeat set. As you can see here, the Bulldogs making great meters. Carter again out of dummy half. He's been awesome.
Halfway line, he plays it on. They're just not moving up their line here, Canberra. Creighton. And already on the last tackle, they're down to the 30. Perrott gets into acting half. Now Feeney, a high kick. No real chase here from the Dogs, and Ahern takes it 5 out from his own line. It was the only time they've had possession down the opposition end of the field, Canberra, and they just kicked it away. Nearly got the points, but nearly's not good enough for them when you're down 22-0.
Yeah, that's right. I think just staying patient there too. Got a little bit trigger happy. You know, you can look for the points, but when you're down by 22 points to 0, you need to stay patient there. It's going to take a lot to win this game of football.
Garrard gets away from a couple, gets away from 3. Good run, Ricky Garrard. Solomon, acting half. Here's War Boys taking the line on. The offload back to Pangai. Last tackle. Garrard, that's a charge down and a knock on, so Canterbury will come up with it. It's just not clicking today for the Raiders, and there's a solid tackle from Pangai.
We saw Mitch Cornish there, yeah, they'd love to have him back. But also Jeremy Hawkins will be playing in the Mounties too. They no doubt would have loved his.
Here they come again, Graham beating a couple. A missed tackle count for the Canberra Raiders must be enormous so far today. 18 it is already. Fuka. Make it 20, add another couple from that bust. Here's Carter. Now Graham, Lane, They've got the numbers there in defence, Canberra, but it doesn't matter if you don't make the tackle. Straight through Patrick Mago. And Sean Lane scores try number 5 for Canterbury in the first 25 minutes.
Well, Sean Lane on the edge there. There's a battle of the big men up against Mago there. Patrick Mago, who's a great defender, but the big right-hand fan. Look at the size of him. Big Sean Lane gets over the top. And they just keep rolling forward. The back ends to the sets from the Canberra Raiders. They're not finishing them off, giving too much cheap possession and great field possession of the Bulldogs. But a great try. Look at the big man, the big right-hand fan. Don't argue. Thanks for coming. Another 4-pointer.
Well, he's dropped Mago and Pangai, swap left, right there, and it's done nothing. One change that Mick Mantelli has made is brought Ricky Garrard on. They've looked better around the ruck, but 21 missed tackles in the first 26 minutes here for the Bulldogs. And that was embarrassing for Patrick Mago. It wasn't as if he was running hard there, young Sean Lane, either. It was just a nice fend and, whoa, hang on a minute, all of a sudden I'm in the clear. But it goes back to the, as you mentioned, the end of the sets, the kick that was just a little nothing chip tried into the corner. There was no real intent with the kick, and it was charged down, then the knock on. It's all Canterbury at the moment. And Patrick Templeman adds the extra 2.
And you often see with the missed tackle rate, and you see the Raiders are up to 21 missed tackles at the moment. But it goes back to the possession. The Bulldogs have had 67% of possession, almost 70% of possession so far in this first half. And the fatigue. The fatigue is what kills you, and that's when you start coming up with mistakes, whether it's back end of the sets with Paul King game, or you start falling off tackles. Fatigue makes cowards of us all, I tell you what, and the Raiders are getting really found out at the moment.
Let's see how the Raiders go here, getting off their line too, Alan. When you compare the way, and it does come back to fatigue, but the way that the Dogs are getting off their line, as opposed to the Raiders, it's chalk and cheese, and they're just marching down the field here, Canterbury. If they got it through their hands there, they had 3 on 2. On the outside, Elliott plays it. Here they come again. Graham, he's got Lane with him. Lane into space. Fuka, Templeman. Templeman will score. Try number 6. Where is the defence from Canberra? The Bulldogs are making the Canberra Raiders, who lead the competition by 5 points, they are making them look average at best.
This is an amazing performance here by the Bulldogs. You cannot take anything away from them. I know the Raiders, they're sitting in first at the moment, but they just haven't turned up here. And the Bulldogs just rolling through them. Great play on the edge there by Graham, putting Lane into space, and Templeman backing up. You can see here, Graham takes it to the line, draws in Pangai, and Templeman back on the inside as Lane gets a pass off him and races away 40 metres to score under the post. The Bulldogs, they are on fire.
Look at Tahakilu Pangai there. They had 3 players go to Graham, and it just left a yawning gap. There's no communication in defence. There's no intensity in defence. There's no communication full stop in this Canberra Raiders side at the moment. 32 points to 0. Canberra has never kept the Bulldogs to below 30 points in a game. Well, this could be Canberra's biggest loss ever, the way they're going. And this is a team that's leading the competition by 5 points. This is not a team that struggled all year. This is the premiership favourites that are down 32-0 after 29 minutes. And maybe, as Templeman adds the extra 2, maybe we should stop talking about the problems with Canberra and pay due credit, or more credit, to Canterbury's performance, which is as impressive as we've seen all year, up against the best team in the comp.
I think you're dead right there. They're coming off the back of 7 wins in a row. Last week, they belted the Titans 54-20, and they had 6 tries in the first half as well. We talked to Andy Padmore early on in the pre-game show, and he spoke about the belief within this side and how they've gelled together. They're coming together at the right end of the season. They're going to do some damage in this competition, as they are this morning against the Raiders.
Second marker is offside. They're not square. Second marker.
Well, that's the sort of day
Second marker, not square, boys.
that Canberra's having. the Bulldogs come up with a mistake and they get the penalty. That's David Minnett, who's just come on the field, who's copped the knock there.
And he's a powerhouse player too. Wait till he gets his hand on the ball well and proper here in a minute. He can carry and causes plenty of headaches. I was saying before, I know they're missing Mitch Cornish, but also Jeremy Hawkins. I think how valuable he is out of their own end, getting valuable metres. You often see him getting over 150 metres a game.
And that calm, sensible head of his too.
Yeah, great decision-making on the edge. They're really missing him this morning as well. But the Bulldogs, look at them go here now, to the edge this time.
Vargas, quick hands, Fuka away from Tahakilu Pengai, and Solomon chops the legs down and then gets a... Lucky to not be penalised there. Elliott. Just on a roll here, Canterbury. Vargas with the dummy, another missed tackle. He had Lane on his outside, couldn't get it to him. Last tackle, Carter with the kick off the legs of Ahern. They got lucky there, Canberra. Diving right there was Mago. They got very lucky.
They certainly did. I think Blake Carter, I think he's had a fantastic start to the game, well, as all of the Bulldogs players has, but I think he's been great out of 9 there. Also, Jack Creighton as well at lock for the Bulldogs. I think they've been two of the unsung heroes there. They're not getting their name on the score sheet, I suppose, in regards to the tries.
Double knock on, boys. First one, Canberra.
First one,
Canberra, then Bulldogs.
Another error here, but I think they've done some great things for their side.
Knock on both ways. Yeah, so knock on Canberra, knock on Canterbury. So it will be the Canterbury loosen feed. Tahakilu Pengai. They are shell-shocked here, Canberra. They don't know what to do. They don't know who's in the scrum. They don't know what they're going to do with the ball in their hand.
Nice and tight for me, Patrick. Put your hands second row.
This is telling us a little bit about... They haven't been really under pressure too often in this season. They're a little bit rudderless at the moment. Who's going to step up for them to just try and get them a try before half-time? Fulalala. Canterbury, very impressive. Here's Vargas looking for a double. He's only half a metre away.
Hold, 3.
Feeney, Templeman off the legs, and now here's an opportunity. Heffernan down the touchline. Templeman's chasing. Heffernan, Templeman wins the race. Also there was Leo Lavave. Quick play the ball. War Boys. Now these are mile offside. Carter. Advantage being played here for Pengai. Now they get a penalty.
Don't make a habit of that. That's deliberate. Just a warning. Don't make a habit.
Don't make a habit of it. I don't think it's going to happen too often that the team makes a break like that. But anyway, here's Pengai. 10 metres out from the line. Long way back for Canberra, but they've got to start it shortly. Bateman, terrific tackle. Was that Feeney? It was. It might have been Backhouse, the centre. Now the pass comes to Pengai. Over. They're in Canberra. Finally, they score the try. Although they may challenge here, the Bulldogs. Feeney is suggesting they may have lost it. Templeman wants a challenge. Here it comes.
Well, I know it's a long way back.
Original decision was try Raiders. Bulldogs missed the challenge of grounding.
The challenge of the grounding there. They've spoken to the referees. We'll have a look at there. I know it's a long way back for the Canberra Raiders, but at least some promising signs there. Stroke of luck when the ball bounced off. Oh, he looks like he might have lost this too. Tavita Pengai.
Seen them awarded though. That's a try. I'd award. He's got the ball in his hand still. I'd say that's a try.
He's got a fingernail on it. He's got a fingernail on it.
I'd award that.
Talking a strip down there. Oh, it's probably that other shot.
I think the other angle.
The other angle, yep.
And you know, Steve Clark is the video referee, and you're saying no try?
Oh, I'm saying no try. I don't think he's got enough control.
Look, the try's been awarded.
Yes, so
right.
that's got to be.
So Steve Clark's got to have you know, proof beyond any doubt that he's dropped it. And look, I'd go with the referee on that occasion. Steve Clark, mate.
Decision's overturned. Knock on over the line. 20 restart.
Well, that sort of sums up Canberra's day. And that Canberra may even want to challenge that and ask for another video referee in the box to have a look at it. Look, I think the referee awarded the try. David Minnett's come off holding his ribs for Canterbury as well. But it's a black day at the moment for the Raiders. Last time they were here, the first grade side got a touch-up. Oh, there's a dangerous... He got him into a dangerous position. Lucky he didn't go on with it there, Pangai. And now they're off the line too quickly.
Ravens, we'll never square. We'll never square.
Well, things are starting to get heated up here in the Bulldogs. Well, they're going to be in great field position once again. Just over 5 minutes to go on the clock. This could be 40 points before half-time.
Could well be. Backhouse. 15 metres away from the line. So often you see a try disallowed at one end. The opposition can come all the way down and score at the other. For Lalo. Here's Carter. They can't stop Carter. Barges for the line. 2 metres away. Blake Carter standing in front of the post, directing traffic. Now Lane again. This time they're around his legs and creep over the top. Carter. Now Graham. Fuko for the line. They're just hanging on at the moment, Canberra. Templeman, Carter. That was too easy. Patrick Templeman, Blake Carter gets the try he deserves and sums up the day for both teams. Smart play, Canterbury. Poor defence, Canberra. But it's 38-0.
Well, that cheap penalty there got more field position, but look at this by Templeman. That's class and a great reward for Tom Carter. I think he's been fantastic, the young hooker. Gets into position there. Smart work by the pair of them. He knew that Jonathan Rubin was close in there to play the ball. Just sits himself out, the hooker on the wing, and Templeman does the rest.
Yeah, young Blake Carter, who is the brother of Paul, who played with the Dogs, or still plays with the Dogs at the moment, in the New South Wales Cup, played under 20s last year. It has been signed by the Gold Coast Titans. He's a good young player, played New South Wales under 20s last year, and the son of Steve Carter. They're water polo boys as well. They breed water polo boys tough. Patrick Templeman gave the pass for that. Another try assist for him. That brings him level, I think, if he hasn't already had a couple in this first half. I lost count, 7 tries in one half here. He could have passed Jack Ahern as the leading try assist man in the under 20s. I thought the Dogs were a chance of winning today, Alan, but it is just an extraordinary scoreline, 38 points to 0. 3.5. They've got a chance of going in again here, Canterbury. 38 points to 0. I know it's an early start, and this is the first week we've had it, but the Canberra boys, they're still asleep.
Yeah, exactly right. I know it was an early start, but they've just been blown away. I think, you know, we were speaking off air and talking about the Bulldogs. They're coming right off 7 wins. They're doing some great things at the moment. We thought this was going to be a great battle. Both teams really seeing where they were sitting in the competition. 2 of the heavyweights. Well, they've just been absolutely blown away, the Canberra Raiders. Mitch Cornish, Jeremy Hawkins can't come back quick enough.
Mitch Cornish is still watching. If I was the coach of Mounties, I'd be telling him to get inside and not watch it. So he's not distracted. They just can't tackle today, Canberra. The offload there from Lane. But having said all this, 70% possession to the Bulldogs in the first half is just an extraordinary amount for Lalo. There's some strong defence. What a challenge here for the Raiders. Elliott slipped as he came to the defensive line. Feeney, Backhouse. This is just a training run today, it seems, for Canterbury. Everything they're doing is good, crisp, intelligent football. Quality skill-wise. Rubin catching a tough kick there from Templeman. Rintoul has him wrapped up.
Well, they need to have a good set here, the Raiders. I know there's just over a minute to go. The Bulldogs will get another chance with the footy in their hand. They need to get to the set, drive it in the touch, get into half-time. It can't come quick enough. I know Mick Mantelli, I think he'll have some animated words at half-time, no doubt, for his young men.
But they're unbeaten at home this year, Canberra. Ahern, Warboys. Well, there's a pass from Jack Ahern to a player under pressure. And Warboys throws it to Roberts. They're not going forward. And they've got no one getting in there and doing the hard yards. Here's a strong run from Pangai, but even that was at an angle. There's this kick going to go from Ahern. Carter up to put pressure on him. Little chip, and Rintoul has it covered. And so once again, a set will start for the Bulldogs. A quick play, the ball 10 short of halfway. Fuka. They can score here again, Canterbury. Carter, Templeman, Feeney, Vargas, Elliott for Lalo. Pass here taken by Tomunga. Quick play the ball. Templeman, Feeney, Backhouse. Backhouse gives the beautiful pass to Leo Lavave, who scores in the corner. 8 tries in the first half for Canterbury. Can you believe it?
I can't. I cannot believe it. I was going to start right down the try scorers' names, but my pen's run out of ink, so I'm not going to do that anymore. This is amazing by the Bulldogs. Great skill. I mean, in the lead-up play to this too, plenty of ball movement, great work, great vision here again on the edge here. Feeney, good play out wide, and Leo Lavave grabs a double out in the corner. What a great opening 40 minutes to the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs.
They had numbers there, the Raiders. It was just the skill of the Bulldogs that was able to create the opportunity. And you could almost read the minds there of the Canberra players. They just didn't know what to do because Feeney ran with the ball out in front. He had a man on the inside, a man on the outside. They had no idea which way he was going. They weren't moving up. And it has been an extraordinary first 40 minutes from Canterbury and a stunning first 40 minutes from the Raiders. They're stunned. I'm shocked. And Canterbury are rocketing into contention for this competition on this 40-minute performance, and then Templeman adds the extra 2, and this is the half-time score, not the full-time score. At half-time, I am stunned. Canterbury 44, lead Canberra 0. We're finally underway for the second half, and for the first time in the game, Canterbury kick off. Let's see whether Mick Mantelli's words at half-time have changed the performance of Canberra. Well, that pass was out in front. He only just held on to it.
And that'll be the challenge that Mick Mantelli will no doubt send out to them. You know, they're in a really tough position and they've got themselves into it. Who's going to stand up, you know, and make a difference here? Because this will tell a lot about your character this second half.
Creef. There's that break at half-time, just taking the edge off Canterbury. Sometimes you see when in matches like this, the second half can fizzle out a little bit. Hopefully this won't. Quick play the ball. Now Ahern. Templeman looks at his winger and decides he has to take it and does. Well, that's silly. Smart play by Patrick Templeman. He knows that if he's in the air, he can't be touched.
Ryan, don't come at me like that.
Mate, I can just put that one on report. Look dangerous.
His leg into his chest, but yeah, that's fine.
Back there, boys.
At the end of the day, it's tackled in the air, it's dangerous, it's going to be on report. Penalty stands. Now 9, let me take control because you come at me again, it's going to go against you. Well, that's the way I took it.
I think it's a smart play by Templeman. Look here, he jumped in the air.
On the cross there, 4.
Use the 40, boys.
Pangai suggesting he put his foot out. He's allowed to protect himself.
We've seen Billy Slater do that too, haven't we?
This season. Catch it, aren't you, as a fullback?
And you're in such a vulnerable position there. I was just about to say, a great opening set from the Canberra Raiders. They got to the end of the set. They got a good kick away. Real discipline there.
Terrific ball again. They're lining up. Feeney races away. Here's try number 9. They've started the second half. Canterbury, the way they started the first, they got a penalty 10 out from their own line, and they're in again.
Well, you wondered if the first half, that half-time break, was going to take the edge off them. Well, it certainly hasn't. The Pangai giving away the penalty here, but Feeney, he's been involved in everything as well. He's been great for his side. Great support play once again. Backs up and gets the opening 4-pointer in the second half.
That was too easy again. Well played, Canterbury, but they are shot ducks at the moment, Canberra. They don't know what to do. They've got no answer.
I'm not sure either. I don't have an answer. I booked in to see a counsellor next week.
What they've got to do is they've got to be smart. They don't give away a silly penalty like that. They let him catch the ball and make the tackle 10 out from his own line, Templeman. They don't do silly things for a start, you know. It says something about their mindset.
Yeah, there's some frustration there, no doubt, but you need to get disciplined, need to get back to the small things that have been working well for them. They're sitting in first position.
And so there is the first goal of the second half, 7 from 9 from Templeman. So that's 14. He's got 2 tries, another 8. There's 22 points in the game so far for Patrick Templeman. I'm stunned still.
Yeah, it's as much a challenge for the Bulldogs as well to keep their heads in this second half. It doesn't need to become a game of touch footy for them. They're building into the finals here. They've got a tough run home. They still play 3 sides in the top 8. They have the Rabbits coming up, then the Panthers, who sit 4th, and then the Broncos away at Suncorp to finish off their season. So they need to keep building here, need to keep setting themselves to the structures that Coach Pat Moore has implemented in their side.
We better head downstairs quickly to find out what happened at half-time before they score again here. Canterbury, Jimmy Smith. We saw Mick Mantelli go off. Extraordinary first half of football.
Absolutely remarkable, and it's continued into this second half, hasn't it, Mark? Yeah, Mick was... Well, he asked them to look within themselves, the players, and it was all about themselves and how they responded to this second half, and already their signs haven't been good. Andy Patmore's point of view, he said, let's not complicate something that's been really good for us. They've been great through the middle. Let's continue to do that. But the key word that he was emphasising, attitude. Attitude had to be spot on. It looks that way in the first couple of minutes.
Well, they've made a mistake here, and they've given Canberra an opportunity. Ahern, a no-look pass there to Bateman. 50 points to 0, and we're only just into the second half. Ahern passes when maybe should have held on to it. And they're going to score here, Canberra. Mago will pick the ball up and score. It was ugly, but it's points. Not sure that that's a try assist to Jack Ahern. The ball hit the ground and Mago played on, got the bounce and scored the first try for Canberra. That try was as ugly as the way Canberra's been playing today. Well, they're going to challenge here, Canterbury.
Well, I'll see if it's going forward here.
Well, they can't check a forward pass.
They can't check. That would be the only thing that... Oh, the knock on, okay.
Did he pick it up with a knock on?
Yeah.
Well, there was no knock on. They're just hoping, I think. Solomon didn't get anywhere near touching it. I don't know that he touched it, did he?
I didn't think so, but as that... Oh, this might be the shot to have a...
Watch the revolutions of the ball to see whether it changes. No. Look, I don't think it did. Put your house on him touching that, would you?
No. I think this will be let go.
Stephen Clark's having plenty of looks at it.
Let's give them the try. They need it. They need it. The crowd need it. Everyone needs it.
That's your Raiders' eyes looking there, I think, out.
Decision stands. Bulldogs have no more challenges for the half.
Not sure they'll need them. first points for Canberra come in the 45th minute. And while we've been going on about the number of points Canterbury scored and all that sort of stuff, Canberra aren't held to nil too often either. There's Patrick Mago's try, his third of the year, 50 points to 4. It's still embarrassing. Here's Warboys. But it's on the back of the mistake Canterbury, a very rare mistake that Canterbury made in their own half.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, we've seen the Raiders as Warboys adds a conversion there. You know, the Bulldogs had so much field position early through that ill discipline by the Raiders. All costly little errors there. Jack Ahern gets himself into some good field possession, gets his hands on the ball there. Patrick Mago goes over. Let's see what they can do with this next set of 6 and how that attitude that Coach Andy Patmore's been speaking about with the Bulldogs here, whether they can muscle back up and get back in control straight away.
Bateman. Even though they got points there, Canberra, it was ugly. It's a ball that hit the ground and Canterbury seemed to stop as well. Can they get to their kick here, Canberra, and get back into some sort of rhythm? Ahern and up quickly. Graham, I think they did well to get away from a very quick defensive line from Canterbury. 4-1 the penalty count is to the Dogs. Mago was facing Kuma when he played that. Garrard. Ahern into acting half, and here's Tahakilu Pengai. Back to Garrard. Here's some better play from Canberra. Some second phase play after a player ran straight and hard. Last tackle, short side. Ahern off legs. Canterbury come up with it.
Stand up. Hold. Yours,
I think when Jack Ahern reviews this game, we know what an exciting talent he is and what he's done in this NYC competition. I think he'll be disappointed with his back ends to sets. And it's something that he'll definitely look at improving. I think he's come up with a couple of kicks there that, you know, if you're 20 or 30 points in front, you'd have a crack at. But when you're behind like this and trying to, you know, get back in the grind and get some field position and assert some pressure on the opposition, he'd have a few of those kicks over again and go long.
Lane, he re-signed with the club, I believe, during the week. Jack Ahern, we mentioned last week a few clubs would be lining up. Well, the Raiders have got a hold of him. And will this go over the dead ball line? Just.
Dead, 20 restart. He's coming out.
So there he is, Jack Ahern, re-signed Canberra for a couple of years, I think. Expect an announcement soon. It's not official. Reuben, who hasn't re-signed for Canberra. Will they keep him? Hearing the Roosters are interested. There is a penalty.
Took him to ground after we caught held.
Well, we spoke about the Bulldogs, their run home against all sides in the top 8. Well, in the top 8 at the moment. The Raiders run home, they play Manly, who are 16th in the NYC next week. The Warriors away, who are 5th, which will be a great challenge. And then the Sharks at home here, the 15th, who are in 15th position at the moment. So they haven't got a real strong run home. They really need to test themselves. And I know that they would have looked at this game and thought, hey, this will give us a real good indication of where we're at. Well, we'll be having a few good looks in the mirror, I think, this week.
Barnett plays it. That's the 20-metre line. War Boys. Now it's Tahakilu Pengai. There's no way through there. Carter was waiting for him. Lane was there as well. Garrard, here's Ahern. The pass to Lee. Lee to Reuben. Reuben scores. That is more Canberra-like. Jonathan Reuben finishes it off. But Jack Ahern involved again. Back-to-back tries here for the Canberra Raiders. And when they do things well, they look such a good side.
And once again, Jack Ahern, I know he plays at fullback, but he comes up first receiver there so often. Out to Brenko Lee, got that lethal right side combination. Just Fuka just comes out of the line there. Brenko Lee puts his man Jonathan Reuben in the corner. A great finisher he is.
Well, he just got it down. They don't have a challenge remaining, Canterbury. He's able to keep his feet inside that touching goal line. 19 tries in his 13th match for the season. Jonathan Reuben, as we mentioned, not re-signed yet for next year. Does so much good work off the field. Whispers around that the Roosters are interested, and he's a good finisher. Jonathan Reuben Here's Jordan Warboys from near the touchline. Looks like David Minnett is about to come back on for the Bulldogs. He struck it pretty well. Jordan Warboys, he's added the extra 2. 50 points to 12. So back-to-back tries here for Canberra. And they can score points in bunches. I doubt they'll score 50 in a bunch. But if they can, you know, get themselves back to maybe 30 or something like that, it does take the edge off the first half performance from Canterbury. It's how you finish the game it's important too.
Yeah, and I think that's what Andrew Patmore would really be looking at, and he spoke about that attitude at half-time and how important that was. I think moving forward as they start to go into the finals, they want more 80-minute performances, complete performances. And the Raiders will, can they just claw a few back there to make this look a little bit more respectable than what it is right now?
And they've had more possession in the second half, which helps. Garrard, Ahern, Warboys. Nothing there for Crete. Now back to Tahakilu Pengai. A couple and Lane wraps him up, but he's still able to offload to Solomon. 2 tackles left in the set. Slowish play the ball. Here's Barnett finding a little bit of a hole, and Elliott, did he get a one-on-one steal? I think he may have. He has. That is exceptional work there from Adam Elliott. Just stole the ball away from Mitchell Barnett. And there's some strong defence from the Canberra Raiders on the halfback, Feeney. Fualolo. Carter. Graham. And now it's been caught by Crete. I think he threw it straight to him. He was expecting his runner to be closer to him, Perrott, but he was too far away. So a couple of turnovers there from either side.
Take it back, take it back.
It's tackle 2, play it in the line. Up nice and tight, Marcus, push right up.
Marcus told to go back and play.
9 right up.
Play it now.
Where he was called held.
Tackle 2.
Garrard, now Ahern to Bateman. Played for Queensland under-20s Origin and under-18s this year. Selected for Queensland before he'd played in the Holden Cup. Ahern, Warboys, Barnett. There's a hospital pass. He managed to hang on to. Minute 1 of the defenders. Garrard out of acting half. Tahakilu Pengai hard to stop. The offload back to Bateman, who dropped it, but he was tackled first.
Right next to me, get back.
Lloyd Perrott was ruled inside the 10. This will test the defence here of Canterbury.
Another opportunity from the Raiders. We're just running with so much more intent, aren't they, early in this second half, getting some second phase, and they're playing off the back of that.
There it is.
Bateman. Warboys. Ahern. Mago, they read that well. Terrific tackle from Graham. Lane helped him as well. 5 away from the line. Here's Ahern. If he ran himself, he scores. Here they go with Fuko. Fuka, he had Rintoul on his inside, who lost it. I think if Jack Ahern had run that rather than passing it, he would have scored.
Yeah, they've had so much success out that right side, haven't they? With Branko Lee and Jonathan Rubin in the past. Trying to get the ball there. Jack Ahern just show and go could have been there, but Fuka takes the intercept, runs away. Great chase there, but he just gets a little knock on at the back end that the referee saw. Just bobbles free.
Pat, hold them together, nice and tight. Gear arms around Pat. That's it.
Wait for the out call, boys.
Waiting.
Yep. Waiting.
Out. Yeah. Yours now, mate.
Thank you.
Warboys. Here is Branko Lee. Now Heffernan. I can't remember Andrew Heffernan touching the ball in this game. That's his 4th hit up. Maybe a couple of times from dummy half in the first, but it's been all one-way traffic. When they have had it, the Raiders, they've gone the other way. Warboys, as they are now, Ahern. A little bit of room here for Branko. Graham misses the tackle. Back to Creeth. Bateman runs the decoy. Elliott makes the tackle. Carter was there as well. They've gone the wrong way here, Canberra. There's plenty of Bulldogs defence. War Boys, they only had 3 defenders the other way. There's still a chance if they go to the right here, Canberra. Ahern, this time he takes them on. Tackle made by Elliott. Last tackle. Kick, knock on from Canterbury.
Knock on, boys.
Minute made the error. So the Raiders attack, not really challenging Canterbury's defence there, but Canterbury defended it well.
Yeah, they're still turning up for each other here, but the Raiders playing with much more intent. Just that aggression in their running. So much, you know, a difference from that first half performance that we saw. I know they've had a lot more possession, and I suppose the fatigue factor that we spoke about, they've got more energy to them. They're creating an overlap on this right-hand side. See if they can put some more points on the board.
Awful pass from Creeth. Nice bounce safe to Heffernan. Branko Lee, one-on-one. Fuka makes a good tackle. 5 out from the line. Reuben. Here's Mago slipping over in the defensive line. Was Elliott. Did he get it down? No. Lost it. He just tried to reach the unattainable there, Patrick Mago, and lost it.
Field of play.
Well, he's tried hard, hasn't he, Patrick Mago? He just reaches out the ball so close to the line. Why not have a crack at it? You're down. You got some field position. They've had a bit of possession. With the Raiders, it's been one of those mornings, hasn't it?
When, I'm sure you've been in this situation at the end of a bit of a hiding, Alan, when do you stop thinking about chasing points and thinking about next week and getting back into, right, it's 0-0, let's try and win this, you know, 12-0 between now and the end of the, and don't try and chase those points, take the tackle and build from there.
Yeah, it's hard to change that mentality. You know you're so far behind. You're trying to make the score look as respectable as you can. You get some field position, you have a crack at it. But I think deep in the back of their mind, they'd be thinking, I want to muscle up here because I know my coach has been so disappointed with me, and that's not what we're used to from this Canberra Raiders side. It's hard, I suppose, with the ball in hand not to chase points when you're this far behind.
Carter. Templeman. Oh, his legs chopped from underneath him. Did he slip over there?
Enough. Yeah. Captain.
It's going to be on report again.
Leave it alone, 9. Who got it?
I penalise it and I'm in control. Go away. I don't need you now, Pat. I can understand what he's saying, the way he's tackling. In my opinion, it's dangerous, okay? That's why the penalty is, and that's why it's going on report. Understand, but in my opinion, that's a dangerous tackle. He's got to get up and tackle it.
On report twice now, Tahakili Penguin.
What are we going to do? Kick it? Your whistle there, Matt.
Initially, he's gone in with his arms to wrap around the legs, and I mean, the bloke that's in more danger is Tahakili Penguin there.
Yeah,
putting his head in front of the knees of the bloke with the footy.
Yeah, I think when we first saw it, it looked like he might have almost dived in at his knees there dangerously. But when you look at that, I don't think there'll be anything wrong with that one.
Backhouse. It wasn't as if he did the old, you know, attack of the knees or whatever. Now, a minute. Near the touchline. He's done well to throw the ball back in. Dropped there by Feeney. Roberts plays it. They're just losing their way a bit here, Canterbury. They still lead by 50 points to 12, but Heffernan. Ahern. Free. The second half there, nearly 60% possession to Canterbury. That's to Canberra, I should say. So Canterbury are having in the second half what happened to them in the first. Branko Lee, Jonathan Reuben has bombed a try. Well, you just don't see that. That was a gift of a try, and they've butchered it, the Raiders.
Scrum, boys. Split, Scott.
Well, it's that right side combination once again. Branko Lee, Jonathan Reuben. Branko only just coming back from a bad hamstring injury last week. Gets through, powerhouse centre he is, draws the fullback, a little bit behind Jonathan Rubin there.
Is that the lack of match play? First game back last week since round 9 off the bench. Just not quite being in sync.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's definitely a factor in it. Still, it's a bombed opportunity there from the Canberra Raiders.
Right in 20, right in 20.
They've shown some improvements. They've got a long way to go.
Creighton back on the field. Coming on for the first time. We haven't seen Denzel King yet, but coming on in 15 in the background. Run off to Amunga as well. Carter, War Boys with the tackle. Quick play, the ball, Templeman. Creighton, Perrott. Back to Creighton. And at the start of the game, they were just all over them. Canterbury with Creighton, Perrott, and Vargas unstoppable. And they continued on from there. Lane. Templeman, last tackle, not a great pass. Nice bounce for Feeney. Under pressure, back to Perrott, the big front rower. Back to Feeney. Feeney then throws it back. Who wants it? It's been picked up by Solomon, and away they go, the Canberra Raiders.
Well, a bit of razzle-dazzle from both sides there, throwing the ball around. Just couldn't get to the end of the set there. They tried to keep the ball alive, some good kick pressure. The Raiders come up with it.
Heffernan. I don't think he would have been too pleased with that. Andrew Patmore. War Boys. Ahern. Pangai, the pass was ruled forward. It was tight. Mago was into space. Yep, it was forward.
Yep, definitely out of the hands there too. You could see that it's gone forward to Pangai there. Well, I mean, in the first half, the Bulldogs, they were just rolling through the middle, weren't they? You know, their big men were just creating inroads through the centre of the Canberra Raiders' defence, and they were just playing on the back of that. Whether that's a factor they've gone away from that style of footy, but also the Raiders starting to muscle up some more intent in their defence has just slowed the opposition down.
Elliott. Perrott. Canberra Raiders players and fans asking for that pass to be ruled forward. It wasn't. Carter. Graham. Lane. Tamakio over the top. Bateman. Solomon in there to make the tackle. Carter will play it. Feeney, Templeman slipping. Easy meet there for War Boys. Minute at acting half. Feeney, the kick. Ahern does well. There was a lot of players around him, and he was right on his own goal line. He did well there, Jack Ahern.
He did well. There was plenty of attention around that. Great little ball there now by Heffernan. Gets the ball back from Craith. And just starting to roll forward nicely through the Bulldogs here. Second phase play. Often talk about sides that coming into the back end of the year that have had good runs. You know, a loss coming into the finals can be a good thing. You wonder whether a belting like this from the Dogs is what the Raiders are after. As Jack Ahern launches the ball out on the full, it looks.
He knew straight away when he kicked it.
You go back, mate.
But it just sends them back to the drawing board. They'll get a couple faces, we think, back next week in Mitch Cornish and also Jeremy Hawkins. Give them a chance to have a good look at themselves, a bit of a reality check. Manly at home next week. Then the Warriors away and then the Sharks at home.
Templeman was on the outside of Feeney, who won himself. All the defence went to Templeman as he wrapped around. Carter. Here's Minute. 10 metres away from the line here, Canterbury. They haven't scored for 24 minutes. Elliott, they will now. Did he get it down? No, held up. How did he not get that down? Terrific effort from Canberra.
Held up. Play the ball out on the 10.
He looked certain to score there, did Adam Elliott. Somehow they held him up. Feeney, now Templeman, they yelled his name just to say he was the one that was going to score. 3 tries today for Patrick Templeman, added to that 7 goals. The Dogs now hit 54.
This is a great little play here, almost Melbourne Storm-like, where Templeman actually starts on the inside of Feeney. This is the held-up decision. As the ball comes round, well, it's very close to saying it's held up on his foot there. But look at Templeman, starts on the inside of Feeney, and then his speed to get on the outside creates the extra number. The inside of Feeney here races to the outside. Minute was the short man, comes through and scores a try. A quality performance.
So 12 points from tries, 14 points from goals is 26, which equals the record for the most points in a match for Canterbury. And it was set last year in round 25 against Canberra by Patrick Templeman. He scored 26 points in this game last year. This to make it 28. And that will, what's that, 244 points for the season already. Never looked like missing, did it? There is the new record for the most points in a match for Canterbury. They just have to change the year and the points. It's Patrick Templeman against Canberra. He loves playing the Raiders. 26 points here last year, 28 points here today. And if these two teams meet in the playoffs, Alan, how big a psychological effect will today's performance have for both of these clubs?
Yeah, I think it'll be a huge advantage to the Bulldogs, knowing that, no doubt, the Raiders, they give away another penalty here.
Guys, leave it. 19. Boys.
Leave it.
19.
Right, take it.
Yeah. Let us control.
Thanks, William.
I thought the first contact was across the chest here.
So I think it would. I think it'll be a huge advantage to the Bulldogs. No doubt the Raiders will see this as the high shot. They'll go back to the drawing board. They'll have a good look at it. They need to be far better. They'll know that. They'll improve. But I think it's advantage Bulldogs either way if they do meet again.
That's 2 in a row. Go.
He is one of the most penalised players in the competition, Mitchell Barnett. He's in the top 10.
Yep.
Conceded 2 there back-to-back.
Gotta listen.
Well, they've led the competition all year, and they've done it with
Listen to it.
the same sort of forwards. But come semi-final time, Alan, do they have the size up front to win the competition?
I think they've even shown early in this second half that if they play the style that we know they can play, with that strike out wide there, they can get away with it. I think Tamakio, Barnett, they can hold their own there. I think, and they can play to their strengths, which is on the edges. They just need to control possession. If they can do that and be more disciplined, with and without the footy, I think they'll rattle, any side, even with the forward pack that they do have.
Perrott will play it. Now, Feeney, Minute, knocked down, gets up. The goal line just in front of him. King off legs. The referee says it was played at. Backhouse wins the race and they get another set. Still 12 minutes to go. Plenty of time for Canterbury to really put some points on the board here. The second half, they've only scored 12. Are they about to get their third try? No, they've lost it.
Lost ball.
Elliott, he never really had control of it. Was trying to hang on to it and get the quick play of the ball at the same time.
Scrum again.
It was a great little pass there by Creighton. He's done a couple nice little neat passes as Adam Elliott, the Tathra Sea Eagle Jr. gets up to play the ball, just trying to go a little bit too quick there.
Let's go, boys.
Turn the ball over cheaply.
Let's go, Raiders.
He's been strong though.
Okay, just behind the line, guys.
As has Lane on the other edge back rower too. He's a handful out wide. Big, tall, strong upper body.
It's a classic wake-up call, isn't it, for the Canberra Raiders, that not as good as you think you are.
15, get out. Yep, you're just laying in there.
And a couple of times they've won games this year, Alan, that they didn't deserve to win with last-minute miracles. So maybe that 5-point buffer at the top of the table is not indicative of as to how dominant they've been. They got out of jail against the Dragons and Cronulla, two teams just off the top of the head. Last week against the Roosters was a bizarre game, so maybe the reality check coming today at a good time for them. Barnett just couldn't quite link with Heffernan. Well, they would love the penalty there, Canberra. One referee said yes, the other said no. Creeth plays it. Tamakio. Warboys. Heffernan. Roberts. He's in well there, Andrew Heffernan. He was going to be taken into touch. Last tackle. Warboys. The kick. Easily taken. And here's danger for Canberra because here comes Leo Lavave. Tamakio never onside and he tried to run over the back. In fact, it was run off to Humunga. Rintu. Templeman. Can he pick up 4 tries? King. Now Creighton. He's been terrific today. It's so many good players for Canterbury. Graham. So Humunga will play it. Perrott. They've just been able to work their way down the field so easily, the Bulldogs, all day. That's about the slowest play the ball of the afternoon. Last tackle, Creighton knocked down by Barnett.
Knocked down.
Last tackle too. They were going to run it, Canterbury. Barnett got a hand to it.
And again, another set. Just looking at the way that they're playing, it's very similar, isn't it, to the first grade side. They roll forward through the middle. Cassiano, edges, they've got strike out wide, Pritchard, where you got Lane in the NYC here. Exciting outside backs, usually got Barber at the fullback. This is Templeman. Very similar style to their first grade team.
Elliott. 10 away. King back here to Lane. He can reach out. He tried to and lost it. Strip, says the referee.
Jack. He's not going for the try because in the field play. That's 3 penalties, all against the same player. He's starting to time our hands, okay? You need to talk to him now while we've got a chance because we're going down a road that neither of us want to go down. Mark's in line here.
Well, I thought you were allowed to try and strip the ball if it was trying to score a try.
Wait, on the line. On the line, 18. Go.
You could argue that Lane, who seems to be about 7 foot tall, was trying to reach out to put the ball on the goal line. Perrott. Jackahoon didn't speak to Barnett at all. Between Templeman, Backhouse, bounce important, Heffernan. He's got some pace. Did he just lose it or was it stripped?
Backwards, Bulldogs. Play on, 0 tackle. Let him up.
We just dropped it cold there, Andrew Heffernan.
Well, it's been one of those mornings, hasn't it? It's now gone into the afternoon for the Canberra Raiders.
King out of acting half, and he's close. He's near the line. Is he over? No. Tamakio does well. Feeney, Templeman, Backhouse inside Warboys. Barnett does well to tidy up. Looking for try number 11. Minute, head down, backside up. He's just short of the line. Barnett tackling again. Creighton, Feeney stepping inside Solomon. He gets away from Barnett and scores. Feeney gets a hat-trick. The Bulldogs get their 11th and they hit 60.
Well, he's been a class act this morning. Jalen Feeney. It's great, good footwork. This is the error by Heffernan. Just drops the ball cold there. He gave the opportunity, the ball here. The big left foot step, a bit of a hit and spin there. He's done some wonderful things on the back of a great performance before he's behind his big man up front.
So he and Templeman with a hat-trick. Jalen Feeney, 7 tries on the season, 7 in the career. It's been an impressive performance from Canterbury, particularly that first half. And as poorly, yes, as the Raiders have played, they weren't allowed to play well because Canterbury was just too good. Eight from 10 today for Patrick Templeman, the competition's leading point scorer. That is goal number 93 for the season. And they roll on the Bulldogs, 62 points to 12. And there's still plenty of time for them. 5 minutes remain. It is the biggest win this season in the Holden Cup. The Roosters, before that, over the Dragons, 54-10, so 62 to 12. And who would have thought we'd be saying that when we've got first versus third, and Canberra's playing at home where they're unbeaten this year?
I don't think anybody expected that. I think the crowd's all stunned. Everybody's stunned at the moment, but the Bulldogs, full credit to them. They've been outstanding. They've showed what a force they will be at the back end of this season.
Well, we have Canberra next Sunday afternoon in the Holden Cup when they play Manly. So it'll be very interesting, Alan, to see how they bounce back from this next weekend, Canberra.
It'll be interesting to see the faces that they do get back as well. We spoken about that earlier. I thought that his Cornish and a Hawkins would come back. You'd think Branko Lee will be better for an 80-minute performance. Attack that footy, Jack Ahern. Did he get a hand to it? Obviously not, as it goes touch in goal. Well, the winger just can't push a bloke in the back because Jack Ahern then wasn't able to get the ball back to the 20-metre line. May not have seen much of an incident, but Rintoul pushes him in the back. It means he's not on his feet to pick the ball up. And Canterbury get the advantage back by the man that was closest to the footy not being able to rush it back to the 20. It happened in the field of play, you penalise. Here's Pangai Tahakilu. War boys, Ahern inside. They read it well, Canterbury. Shoe back. Tahakilu Pangai. King around the legs. Trying to offload it there to Holo. Ahern. Kicking for Ruben. Rintoul watches him leap. Can't get a hand to it. Over the touchline. It'll be a turnover here. Heads have been down from Canberra for quite some time now. Canterbury will be looking for another try here. This will most probably be their last set of the game. And once again, Jack Ahern, the back ends to sets there. Probably wasn't the perfect kick. Needed to be a bit higher and a bit longer as well. Giving the opportunity for Ruben and Branko Lee to jump and score an opportunity there. It's one thing that they definitely need to improve. Great play here again by the Bulldogs. Creighton involved in Feeney. Men that have done some fantastic things this morning.
Who wants it? Lalo picks it up. Perrott. Good. Back to Minute. He then finds Backhouse. Heffernan has him and Roberts helps. Templeman into the corner. Hearn.
Just watching in the backfield here is Jalen Feeney, yeah, just hobbling back in. He's got a problem to his right leg there.
That's what you don't want on a day like today, isn't it? When you're well in the clear and you're playing really well for your halfback to pick up a knock in the last 90 seconds. You can just see him there, bottom of your screen. Had a shot there, just limping.
Strict, mate.
Penalty, you take the mark, Matt.
Yep.
Hand in penalty.
Can they finish with a try here, Canberra? They've only scored 2 tries in the game, which is quite extraordinary for
Just wait for the tap.
the second best attacking team in the competition.
Go.
Mago.
Penalty strip. Number
Another
6.
penalty.
6.
Another strip.
Take the mark.
Yeah. Back here, boys.
Tap. That's 2 in a row, mate. Let's not finish it like this.
Tap in,
Let's
go.
go.
Bateman. Can they finish with a try?
Keep coming here, right? Good now.
Ahern. Back for Reuben. Out on the full. No, it was touched by Reuben. Doesn't matter. There is the siren. And as comprehensive of a win as you are likely to see, the Canberra Raiders have thrown down the gauntlet in the Holden Cup. 62 points to 12 winners over competition front runners, the Canberra Raiders.